Half-a-day students, I am Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. You all have been through a year of big changes. We've had to adapt and make big changes to keep our families and our island safe. But with change comes opportunity and a chance to try new things like PBS University. While Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and I will continue to do our part to keep our island safe, you students have a part to play as well. Your part is to keep learning and to keep up with your lessons. That's why I am happy to see you here ready to learn with PBS University. PBS University is a way to bring a continuous educational curriculum to you while you stay safe at home during this time. To help you keep up with your studies, we asked our friends at PBS Guam and the Guam Department of Education to put together this episode. Thank you for doing your part and have a great lesson.
Humanities Guåhan, an independent nonprofit organization affiliated with the National Endowment for the Humanities, is dedicated to promoting public humanities programming for the people of Guam and providing foundational support and educational resources for our island community. For more information about Humanities Guåhan, visit www.humanitiesguahan.org. The following webinar series is part of a project presented by Humanities Guåhan entitled Unincorporated, Voting, Voices, and Visions Para Guåhan. This project explores Chamorro stories, experiences, and perspectives on civic engagement in relation to voting rights, democracy, political status, and Chamorro self-determination. Unincorporated consisted of the 5-part webinar series that took place from January through May 2021 and covered topics on the origins of Chamorro self-determination, the work of the Commission on Decolonization, the relationship between art and decolonization, and the role of the U.S. legal system as it relates to Guam's political status. The project culminated with the launch of an online and printed magazine distributed throughout the community, which consists of essays, creative reflections, and artwork exploring issues around Guåhan's political status and decolonization through the perspectives and historical and political experiences of the Chamorro people of Guåhan.
I guess I could start. As far as marketing work in terms of it being a commodity, one of the things that makes it difficult as a visual artist on Guam is the fact that there's very little to almost nothing besides the gallery that I just opened up a year and a half ago in terms of art venues to showcase local artists. But, artists will find ways, whether it be in a cafe, a restaurant, or even bars and auto dealerships to showcase their works. They'll find ways to get it out there. But I think that shouldn't prevent us from getting it out there and getting the exposure to the masses and perpetuating the culture in any way or form that we can as artists. And so with that said, it's always nice to make a living doing it. But to me, the importance of people sharing and investing in the local arts allows it to thrive, because artists, it's not a very easy career to make it in. I'm fortunate enough to have a 9-to-5 job teaching, but it's always nice to see people investing in it, that it gives you pride and joy that they're placing a value on your art form, hence giving it a little bit more integrity as far as representing the local culture and what it means to us. My only hope is that at some point our local leaders would also recognize that and really think about investing in the visual arts and really thinking about how we can turn Guam into something that, let's say, if it does end up going towards the independence route, we would need a marketable commodity such as filmmaking, visual arts, and ornamentation to thrive and to sustain us as a global economy. I mean, if you go to Bali in Indonesia, where like 90% of their economy is driven by tourists appreciating their culture. in terms of the artisans there. And I could see Guam thriving if that would ever happen with us. But I worry that because we're not getting that at this point, we have a museum, which is a step forward, but the museum does showcase more of the historical aspects of our island, and there needs to be more attention paid to living and contemporary artists in every art form, whether it's performing, visual, or ornamentation. And that is my hope today, is that at some point we'll get a full-fledged art center, so to speak, that could showcase everything I just mentioned. That was my take.
Thank you very much. Cara, did you have a comment?
I'm trying to think back to the original question. I think it had something to do with access and privilege, right? Filmmaking is I think with Nihi, we really try to, and with the filmmaking that I do outside of Nihi, we really do try to prioritize kids who otherwise might not have access. The thing that's cool about most everyone having a phone now is that there are free apps and things like that where you can start filmmaking on your phone. And we've done a couple of workshops with the Guam Department of Education to show teachers how to kind of start taking that into their classrooms. I mean, it would be great at some point to see funding where we could do filmmaking workshops with kids who might otherwise lack access to, because filmmaking equipment is expensive. It is very time consuming. Most people, it has been difficult to make films and keep a job. Like filmmaking, sometimes to make a feature length film takes several months. And so it's definitely a challenge, and it's something that we as a community have to address to make sure that it isn't only people with access to funds and equipment that can make films, that it's that everyone has that, or everyone who wants to has the ability to learn and mentor into that process and have access to equipment. And at Nihi, we sort of see ourselves growing into that, a resource where it does make filmmaking more accessible to the general community.
Thank you very much. Ms. Borja, did you have a comment on that question?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was, I just observed that there was a lot of that art in the example of all the bodies of work of each of our panelists. It was very personal, and that there were issues of honoring ancestors and spirituality. And so the question specifically for your work, how do you reconcile kind of the need to make a living, but investing all of that in the pieces that you do? And does it affect who you might decide to sell it to or who not to? Or, I mean, does that even come into the equation at all?
That's a good question. So I think the same for civic. I'm blessed to be able to have a job right now, so I'm able to still teach, and creating body ornamentation is kind of my side love. For me, when I create pieces, there's a difference between like commission pieces and pieces that are kind of more like personal for me versus other pieces that are more just trinket pieces, quote unquote. And when I say trinket pieces, they're kind of just pieces that you just to create, right? I think as artists, and all artists, you have the ones that you really put your heart and soul into, and then you have ones that you just kind of sketch and you play and you do whatever. When it comes to carving and creating pieces, for me, it's both of those, right? Like there's the times where I'll just create pieces just to kind of fundraise for different things. Or fundraisers come up and they're like, hey, can you donate a piece for this, right? Cool, let me just put something together and boom, here you go. And then there's other people who are family or really close friends who are like, hey, can I commission you for this piece? And then those are a little bit different, right? A lot of my pieces that I do make and that I do sell, if they're not commissioned pieces now, they're usually sold at Second Couture and CHamoru up at the gift shop that's ran by Mama Jill. And the pieces that I have in there and some of the ones that I showed in the slideshow are definitely pieces that I have created, that I've put intention into in terms of creating the story that's even behind it. And so when people come into the shop to purchase pieces, the way the shop runs, especially when it comes to body ornamentation, is you have to connect to the piece. We're not going to try to hustle you and try to be like, hey, check this out, right? Or have you noticed this piece over here? This is a lovely piece. Come check this out. It's not like your typical kind of jewelry shop place that you go to, right? at the gift shop, you come in and you get to look at everything, right? And there's over 60, 70 different artisans that are up at the gift shop. And when it comes to body ornamentation, there's so many different artisans of that. And so when you look at a piece, it's your connection to it, whatever way you connect to it, whether it's the meaning behind the story, the color of the shell, the type of ornamentation that is adorned with the main piece, right? And so when it comes to that, like, there's just differences between it. And at the end of the day, if you're going to connect to my piece and you truly connect, and you can get a person's energy, right? Like, just like when you meet somebody, you're either going to get a good vibe off of them or you're going to get a whack vibe off of them. And it's the same thing when it comes to like your art and your pieces. When people are interested in it, they are either interested in it for like the real intention of like, I really do connect with this. This is a really beautiful piece. Or it's like, yo, I just want that so I could rock it and that's it. You know, there's no real true connection, but they just want to have it just to have it, right? So I think as someone, as an artisan for body ornamentation, there's definitely those differences between the two. And when it comes to folks who are not CHamoru, that Lati bone piece, the woman that I had created it for, she's a white woman, right? But talking with her and hearing her, like, she wanted to commission me. And we had a friendship too. So to me, if you honor and you respect our culture, I have respect for you, right? If you down to ride and understand the struggles of our people and you love our culture, cool, right? Especially if you're down to support what's going on and truly support our peoples, not only in terms of art, but also within our struggle that we're currently facing. So, yeah. I don't know if that completely answers your question, but.
Oh, that was wonderful. That was more than I even, that was fantastic. More than I expected, and it was really insightful. So I just have to say how honored I am, and I truly am, to be part of this conversation. I want to thank all the panelists and for those who are participating from either here on Guam or off island for joining us. I think at this point in time, I'm going to hand the floor over to Nikki so she can close us out. But like I said again, I'm Duncan Sidusmasi, and I also hope that just following along and align with what Rick said is that, that we get some advocacy for visual arts, because it's such an important part of a way to not to express ourselves for artistic impression, but also for cultural survival, right? I mean, I think that's the message that all of you have conveyed to the audience today. So, man, it's really been a pleasure. You guys rock, and thank you so much. So, Nikki, all yours, dear.
Again, Sizus Masi for joining us today. That brings us to the end of our webinar. Please fill out our eval, which we will share in the chat box as well as the Facebook live stream. And also please join us for the next webinar with AG Levin Camacho and attorney Vanessa Williams, which will continue this conversation through the lens of the U.S. legal system, and which will explore the history of voting on Guam and look at some contemporary cases. So thanks again, everybody. And Viva Mas CHamoru. Adios.
Viva.
These webinars can be accessed on Humanities Guåhan's Facebook page. To view the online magazine associated with Unincorporated Voting, Voices, and Visions Para Guåhan, visit humanitiesguåhan.org/unincorporated.
Hafa students, I'm Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. For more than a year now, you all have continued to wash your hands and watch your distance from others, and you've done a really great job wearing your masks. We know your parents and guardians have helped you to make these changes to keep yourself and your community safe. As Governor Leon Guerrero said, we are happy you are here. We want you to continue to learn and sharpen your skills with the help of PBS University. This program is the result of a collaborative effort. We couldn't do it alone. I'd like to thank the teachers and support staff of the Guam Department of Education and PBS Guam for their work and their commitment to our students. I'd also like to thank you students for participating at home. To your parents, I'd like to thank you for taking an active role in your child's education. We are all eager to return to a time when all of us can share and study together in person. Until then, we hope you learned something new from this PBS University instruction.